Somebody emailed me and asked me to transcribe the song The Sound of Muzak by Porcupine Tree, and they were particularly interested in the groove at the beginning. So I had a listen to it, and I could tell that the hi-hat was just playing accented eighth notes like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I heard that the snare drums seemed to be evenly spaced, although they seemed to crop up in weird places. And when I paid attention to the kick and snare groove, I realized that it was a 7/16th note groove that was on a loop. So I want to show you how you can use OctopuSequencer to create grooves like this and to help you learn how to play them. So this is the state that OctopuSequencer loads up in, and it's playing just a straight groove here. So I'm going to clear all 4 sequences, and I'm going to set the length of sequences 3 and 4 to 0. That's just so that these red lines don't go across and confuse you. So first of all, I want to set the tempo. So the tempo of this is 95 beats a minute, and this is a quarter note click. I'm just going to pull that down so that we're not listening to that. So the first thing I want to do is program in this accented eighth note pattern on the hi-hat. So the rate is 16th notes. I'm going to leave it as 16th notes, and I'm going to set the length to 4. So that would be 1 eander. And I'm going to draw in a hi-hat on the 1 and a hi-hat on the 3, which would be the and. And at the moment, both of these lines are set to hi-hat. If you want to change the instrument that's playing on a certain line, just click on this MIDI note number and use the up and down keys, and it tells you what instrument's chosen. So the first 2 lines are set to hi-hat, and this is an accented 1 and this is a little bit quieter. So we play that. That's the hi-hat part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. So in sequencer 2, I'm going to program in the kick snare pattern. So I said it was a 7/16th note pattern, so the rate is already 16th notes. I'm just going to set the length to 7. And it was playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn the volume of all those up. So the kick and snare pattern by itself is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I draw in hi-hats in the gaps, you'll hear that 7-note pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when you play those 2 together, you get this. And that's where they resolve. Now there's actually a volume control over here for the resolve point, and this will play a crash or whatever sound you pick from the list whenever all of the sequences line up at 1 at the same time. So that's when the pattern actually resolves. So if I turn this up, and these blue numbers here tell you how many times this pattern repeats and which repeat it's on. So we've got 4 of the 7/16th pattern. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 7 of the 4/16th pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. And so you could write this as a 7/4 groove. So basically, that's what's going on with this groove. So there are just a couple of embellishments in the groove at the beginning of the song. You can put more in. The first one that comes is the 7th hi-hat note. So it's the accented 7th accented note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It'd be the 13th one is an open hi-hat. And the 8th note preceding that is a little roll on the snare drum. So playing 2 16th notes and doubling them up. So sounds like this. And then as you get comfortable with that, you can start to add some ghost notes in between the hi-hat notes. And basically, as long as you keep the backbeats in the same place, you can do what you want with all the little notes in between. Put little frilly things on cymbals and hi-hats and whatever you like. Just keep that boom, boom, gap, boom, boom, gap, boom, boom, gap, boom, boom, gap. Keep that going underneath, and you can do anything you like to kind of add some spice to it. So that's the basic groove. So I want to show you some of the things you could do with OctopuSequencer to then expand on that and come up with some interesting things of your own. So let's say we want to change the right hand part to an ostinato like this. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a. Turn up the ghosted notes a bit. So that would sound like this. Or you could have 1E and. Or let's say we just take the first 3 16th notes, change this to a 3 16th note pattern. So now the right hand by itself is playing a kind of shuffle. 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a 1, a 2. So we put that against the rest of the groove. So now you can hear that this resolves after 3 repeats of the kick snare pattern and 7 of the 3-note pattern on the hi-hat. You could play a 5-note pattern with the right hand. This would be pretty difficult. Let's do 1 and 3 and 4. So the hi-hat part. In fact, let's do that on the ride bell and the ride cymbal. Is that the ride cymbal? 51. Oh, come on. Ride cymbal. Okay, so we've got a 5 16th note pattern against a 7 16th note pattern. Let's see what that sounds like. So this repeats after 5 lots of the 7 and 7 lots of the 5. So that would be pretty difficult to play if anybody fancies a challenge. And finally, let's put this back to 4 notes. The original pattern on the hi-hat. Set those back to hi-hat, and then I'm going to use sequencer 3 and put a 3-note pattern in here, which will be on the ride bell, just every 3rd note. So just the hi-hat part against the ride part is this. So there you have a kind of 4 against 3 thing, like this. And we can overlay that ride over the original groove. So that whole thing together sounds like this. And this is going to take even longer to resolve. If we watch the counter here. So if you were transcribing this pattern, so you can create really interesting grooves like that. And one other thing before I leave you to play around with this for yourself is you can do displacements. So instead of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starting on the 1, we could start it on any beat in here. So let's say we started on the snare drum. To do that, you use the displacement field, and as I move this up, you'll see a little yellow line moving across to indicate where the pattern starts. So if we have displacement of 3, then it's going to start on beat 4. So now we have a different pattern. If we start it on the snare drum, sound like this. So you can come up with a whole bunch of different grooves that way as well. So basically this is the kind of thing I designed OctopuSequencer to do. you know, play back grooves. You basically say, do this with this hand and this with this hand, and overlap them and see what the patterns that come out are. And it's a really nice tool for breaking those kind of things down. So if you want to get yourself a copy, go to joecrabtree.com/software and you'll find it in there. You need to sign up for a free masterclass account and then you'll be able to buy it on the software page.